Hello and welcome to part of the MMCast weekly streams and episodes. I'm your host, Alex Kessler, with my co-host, Ben Bateman. Previous this week, we did a video on The Walking Dead and how that's happening. Later this week, we're going to do a whole review on properties that we want to see in Magic that aren't in it. But today, we're going to be talking about the big announcement, which is that Wizards of the Coast has announced that Lord of the Rings and Warhammer 40k are going to be joining the set, and we want to talk a little bit about what that means and how that process happened and what we think about Lord of the Rings being added and what that's going to look like. Make sure to hit that like button. It's why it helps all of the things. Liking it is the most important. So what are your thoughts? I mean, you love Lord of the Rings. You just like sit in your like downtime when you're not watching movies or working or recording things is just like, I imagine you sitting alone in your apartment with the Lord of the Rings soundtrack just playing in the background with you like looking into space.
I really love, I do really love the Howard Shore scores. I've listened to them a lot actually. And to be honest with you, I ordered a record player today. Finally, I was excited about it. I moved into my place. I ordered a turntable and I ordered 3 or 4 albums, one of which was the Interstellar original motion picture soundtrack. Though I didn't order the Howard Shore Lord of the Rings records yet. But they are amazing, and maybe I will do that. I love Lord of the Rings, but not the Hobbit movies. But I love Lord of the Rings movies. And I'll tell you, if they put Boromir on a Magic card, which they should,
they're absolutely going to do.
I just need his flavor text to be, "Give them a moment for pity's sake." That's what I need it to be. I think that's the one. That's the quote.
That's the flavor text you need.
It's probably that, or it's "I would have followed you into Mordor, my brother, my captain, my king," that he says to Aragorn as he's dying. That's the other best quote. But I think that the "give them a moment for pity's sake" is my favorite.
I think if he has flavor text, the likelihood that it's not something along the lines of like
you can't just walk into
Mordor is feels unlikely. Not that those lines aren't obviously as a like good movie classics, but the memes, Ben, you got to make your memes be dreams. It's going to be interesting how much this set is based off movies versus the books, right? Like, or the similarity or that, because we are dealing with like next level fantasy nerds, both as an audience as well as the content makers of this franchise. Obviously, Lord of the Rings, the movies are very popular, but even the like The Hobbit is up there with most sold books of all time. So it's not like book content wise is, especially from the book versus the movie, The Hobbit, is that out of the realm of questions of things to include. I think we'll get every person in the Fellowship. I think we'll get the main elf holders. I think we'll get the towers as different lands. And we'll get all the different lands as we'll get Helm's Deep. We'll get Rivendell.
There's so many. I mean, you'll get Theoden King. You'll get Grima Wormtongue. You'll get as you mentioned, Galadriel. You'll definitely get
that's. I think you're I think that's dipping down a step too low. I don't know if we'll get Wormtongue or Wormtail, whatever the guy's name is. I think that
Grima Wormtongue.
I mean, it could be legendary theme, right? There could be a legendary sub theme, which is a set to do that with. So if that's happening, and you could have legendary swords, maybe you do legendary theme.
It's going to be a whole set, or it's going to be like a secret lair product.
It's a draftable set. It's like a full pack product based set.
Oh, interesting. I wonder when those are going to come out. I wonder
how
in the cycle.
It's not a standard set though. It'll be in the unstable product jumpstart.
Okay. Gotcha.
Time Spiral remastered set release block. One of those. We don't know exactly.
I don't care about Warhammer 40k. It's funny, not because I don't think it's awesome. I mean, I've always thought those miniatures are super awesome looking, and I know that there's tons of cool looking stuff. But in my book, Warhammer 40k is going to just be like a Magic set, like a normal Magic set.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be a lot of things.
Interesting enough, that is going to be a Commander product.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So those won't be a draftable set. I think that's partially because the audience, from kind of your point, right? Apparently there's dope Warhammer lore. And I know for sure, look at Vincent and he's been able to translate a fifth of his content release each week to Warhammer. There is a crossover of the fandoms between Warhammer and Magic. That's not surprising. They're nitty gritty tabletop based battle games. And I think for people like you and me, where it'll just look like a Magic set. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to be like, these are cool Magic cards. The only thing, it's weird that they have guns and that there are robots and maybe aliens, but otherwise this is not that different than a normal Magic set lore.
Yeah, I mean 40k and Space Marines and all that stuff. The guns will probably be the one that's probably the strangest difference, right? You can't really think of other than some like goblin cannonade type of things. There's not really guns in Magic per se. Cannons.
What's gonna be interesting with Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings actually fits more from a world perspective. Like if you didn't know what Lord of the Rings was, if you were an alien and all you knew was Magic the Gathering, and then like Lord of the Rings Magic set came out, it would just look like a Magic set actually.
Well, that's why I always tell people when they're like, "What is Magic?" and I'm like, "It's like poker meets chess, but all the theme of the cards is like Lord of the Rings."
Yeah,
that's what I always say to people. So I don't know. It'll be cool to see though. Look, I hope this doesn't like outrage the community too much, and the focus on standard and competitive 1v1 sets continues as such that this is just fun additional product like the unstable stuff, because I don't buy those products. I don't care about the unsets, right? There's a lot of those multiplayer sets I don't care about. I don't buy them. I know of the cards, I read them, I like to pay attention as they come out, but it's not a gameplay environment that I pay much attention to. So, and I still love Magic more than anything.
Yeah.
So I hope that people can experience it the same way I do, which is like, you don't have to care if you don't want licensed things as part of the game, so be it. I mean, you and I can speak to this from a pretty specific standpoint, which is cool now with running casts and all that. Like we talk about licenses a lot. It's a part of it's a part of our conversation frequently, and it's it's for all different things. It's in our spring summer stuff. It's in all different areas, and those conversations are very similar probably to the ones that Hasbro is having, which is like, set up a meeting with this property, set up a meeting with the people over at Sony or at Warner Brothers or whoever, because like we want to find out what properties they have that would work for our game.
Right.
And then it's a creative conversation where like, and we know how this works, right? There's royalties, there's deposits, like it's a whole negotiation.
That was like one of the worries with the Walking Dead one, right? Where like, oh, are they allowed to ever print any more of this? Can they reprint? Can they reprint a Rick card? And Wizards has said that there is ways in the rules that they've already set aside to allow them to do that if they need to reprint Rick, but they can't reprint it with the license. But yeah, I like, there's this whole idea, like people, because Wizards has now said this for about a year, is like, not every product is made for you, right? There's so many different demographics of Magic that not every product is made for you. But there's a subset of people that for literally 20 years, all products were made for them, right? Like competitive Magic players. And they're the ones I see the most often complaining like, oh, but now, how many times does Wizards have to say this product isn't made for me before I decide that Magic isn't meat for me anymore? And like, there's part of me that's a little sympathetic to that, but it's not like standard packs haven't stopped. I guess blocks have stopped, which if the line in the sand for you is blocks going away, maybe that's a different issue. But like, you're getting 4 booster backpacks product released a year. All of those are standard legal. All of them rotate into Pioneer, then Modern, then Legacy in the same exact rate that they used to. Nothing is different. There's small things where like Legacy is now so old that if that was the format you loved, you're slowly falling away by the wayside. But that's entropy of the universe, right? That's not being caused because Wizards isn't making product for Legacy. It's that Legacy, if anything, actually making these products that are Legacy power level, but for Commander or whatever, is making Legacy more accessible because you can have more staples for that format that aren't reserved list dual lands.
Also, like, I mean, when they changed the card face back in 2003, a lot of us that had been playing before that, I had taken a little break before I came back. And I think I came back right in the like Mirrodin, kind of that Mirrodin era. And I remember like seeing at a summer camp I was at, like some kids had cards. And I was like, these look so stupid, cartoonish. And it's like, what is this? Like, oh my God, they're ruining my game, right? They're ruining my favorite game with these dumb cartoon looking cards. In a year, they just look normal to me. I didn't care anymore. Now I look back and like, it's so nice to see the old card frame or the old card border, but it feels classic and vintage. And like, there's way more Magic sets now with the new card frame than the old card.
I had long rants at the age of 9 on how terrible it is that you could see the rarity of what card you were buying on a card, or how terrible foils were by being added to the game and how dumb that was. And I was wrong.
You look back and it's like, it's so annoying when you go back to these old packs and you open the pack and you don't know what the rare is.
Yeah.
It's a really annoying feeling. It's also like really awesome to open a foil. Packs without foils are a lot less exciting to open.
The foil one I'll give like some credence to because it's an aesthetic choice. And like at the time, I think I associate it with Pokemon, whatever. Like, the rare one has no excuse. That's dumb.
a lot of us felt that way when Exodus came out and you could see the rarity. It was like, huh.
And like, I got ripped off all the time. Like I knowing now what cards I traded other cards for, knew I was getting ripped off, and I was mad that people were now telling me what the value, like more likely card. I like don't get it. But yeah, so like change happens. The base version of Magic is just adding a bunch of more stuff. Like the concept, like how many things have to be released in a year that's not for me for it not to be for me anymore. It's like, well, those packs, standard pack, like Zendikar into Ikoria into, Theros all came out normally. It just also all the commander players got product. The people who want like onboarding process with Jumpstart got product. People that want to play old style Magic with Time Spiral got product. I don't know. It's like not.
I've seen Professor talk about it a little bit and say that, he doesn't agree with the idea, I think, of the most expensive products, right? Like not every product is for you. And it's like I do understand where the sensibility comes from. I get it, because if something really cool comes out and you love the game and you feel like you can't afford that really cool thing and other people can, it makes you feel excluded. So I get where the thinking behind that is, but I don't think that one, if it was that way and it started to be a situation where 70% of Magic product was priced out or exclusive in a certain way and only a small section of the game anymore, was like, but it's not the case. 90% of product is for everybody. More than that, in fact. Like 95% of product is for everybody. It's all released at the same retails, the same availability. There's a couple products a year, secret layers, maybe one set that are like more expensive or more exclusive. And that's it. Everything else is for everybody.
And we've done entire episodes on like the rising cost of Modern and how that's problematic and how Wizards can do the fix. And it's actually one of the reasons I like Secret Layers is it's an easy way to reprint stuff in ways that are cool, that like doesn't have to go through a standard environment, or doesn't have to go through a basic pack release. So yeah, I think like that's what drives me actually insane with the fact that Secret Layer is this is product that doesn't have to be for you at all. We're releasing it. The fact that like Time Spiral Remasters, this is product that doesn't have to be for you at all. Versus, I agree that like making a Secret Layer fetch lands that's $500 was dumb. But I think Wizards is also learning and is putting more effort into not doing that than they are to do it.
This has been a production of Time Traveler Media, sending podcasts into the future.